270 into Illinois, and it's not a jam, but it's slow from 367 to the Chain Rocks. On the Illinois side, southbound 255 at 162 still closed. IDOT said could be another almost hour before they reopen it. We'll see what happens. It's jammed at 270, southbound 111 and westbound 162, both a solid jam in the area. Northbound Gawker's backed up midway up from Horseshoe Lake Road. Other Illinois traffic, westbound 64 backed up 3rd Street across the Poplar, eastbound 64 east of 157 to 159, south 170 is a solid jam, Olive to 64, westbound 64, Kings Highway to Clayton Skinkers heavy, Clarkson to Topgolf, backs up at Lake St. Louis Boulevard, westbound 70, 270 to the Blanchette Bridge, TR Hughes to Bryan Road, there's heavier traffic, eastbound 64, Clarkson to Timberlake and Lindbergh into Big Bend is heavy. South 270, 364 through Manchester, the worst part of that run right now. Southbound 255, a jam approaching Route 3 Columbia. Next update at 5:20, or wait a second, as America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance wish everyone a safe and joyful summer, proudly serving the community for generations. Happy 250th, America. Next update at 5:20 for the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Guys, welcome into Tuesday on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler with you here till 6 o'clock. Then we got Sports Open Line, and then we have Cardinals pregame, and then we have Cardinals Baseball here on KMOX. So a lot going on tonight. A little bit earlier night tonight
Half
for you.
hour earlier?
Yeah.
I'm no complaining here.
You know, more of an 8:40 start than a 9:10 start. So that's a little bit of a bonus. Not just for you, I think for all Cardinals fans, but for you too. I know for everybody that wants to go to bed at a more reasonable hour, we'll take the extra half hour if they can get it tonight.
But you're not allowed to go to bed until I end the extra inning show. You are contractually obligated. The entire KMOX audience is contractually obligated to stay up as late as I stay up.
Yes.
All the way through the end of...
Till 5 a.m.?
Well, no. Through the broadcast.
Okay. I gotcha.
Which last night it was about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Well, you know, we'll get to the manager in a second because that's what we do on Tuesdays. Ollie was on Gas House Gang today. I thought some really interesting stuff today. Ollie was feisty today, which is great. I love feisty Ollie. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Because I get it. Because I would be the same way. I feel like I'd be that guy if I was, a couple of tough losses, and not in a mean way. Just like, you got an edge to you because you're not happy with the last couple of outings, and you get a chance to come on and make some points. And we're going to get through some of those key points here on the show because that's what we do on Tuesdays. We kind of pick out some of the highlights.
And I'll continue to do that a little bit during Sports Open Line tonight as well.
Good.
So.
There's a lot today. There was a lot today. And just to start off with, though, to kind of set the table for Ollie's appearance on Gas House the Gang today, not fun for him, I'm sure, to have to talk about it after two really disappointing losses. And I don't hate yesterday as much as I hated the day before.
No.
Yesterday's just a closer having a bad day.
Yeah.
And it was a bad day. I mean, there's just no way to go around it. Riley O'Brien was not good. And that's what cost you the game. Now, that in the fact you didn't hit, that seems to be the continuing problem here.
I blame myself, by the way, because yesterday during the show, I don't see that many games that they're losing because they're not hitting.
Yeah, well,
so I manifested that happening last night.
Nice jinx on your part, or reverse jinx. I don't know if that's a real one or a reverse one. But yeah, look, Jose Soriano's really good. That's a tough matchup. Like, I know the Angels suck, but Soriano does not suck. He throws 100 miles an hour. He gets some swing and miss, and they have a good bullpen. So I get it. This is not like banging on the team, but you got to score more than 2 runs, and your closer has to hold up. The day before was just so much worse. Everything went wrong. Awful defensive plays, bad base running, 3 or 4 awful pitching performances. There was a lot the day before. And I think, that was one of the things Ollie talked about today, too. He's like, yesterday I didn't have as much of a problem with. It was the day before, and when he was talking about what went wrong, he's like, yeah, basically everything. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's what it was. So, the Sunday loss was way worse than yesterday. But when you combine them together, it sucks.
It is.
As a fan, as a player, anybody, it sucks.
Yeah, I think Riley O'Brien took a lot more grief on social media because that happened the day after you blew a 7-0 lead.
Sure, yeah. 100%. All right, let's hear some of the manager. There's some really interesting things today that Ollie got into with Bernie and Tom Ackerman and Ranj, going over mostly all of this stuff. where you are now coming up on the deadline, some really interesting angles that were taken. But obviously, the big focus early in that interaction was all about these last couple days.
Yeah, so what we're going to start with is there was an interesting back and forth between everybody on where the offense is. And this is kind of a longer cut. This is the longest cut we've ever played when going back with Ali. So we may have to take a break after we play this cut and come back and react to it in the next segment. But I thought it was really good. So this was Ali and the rest of the guys all chiming in on just where the offense is here right now.
Different guys are in different spots. We have guys that are feeling really good about where they're at. There's certain guys, like we mentioned, Ivan, who are in and out of feeling good. And we'll figure it out just based on history and what we believe he's capable of doing. There's stretches where like someone like a Church went through a long offer, but you look at the quality of those at-bats, and I was actually happy with his swings and his approach and his two-strike approach. Had nothing to show for it, but he's headed in the right direction, and I would bet on him exploding moving forward based on that 0 for 20 or whatever it was during that stretch. Like, you start to look at the ins and outs of how he's taken those at-bats, and they were actually encouraging. And some of the adjustments he's making are pretty good. So that's how I would answer that question. I would ask the question,
sure, when you look at, and we can start with you, Bernie, and go around the horn. What player can you point to that is underachieving?
Are we talking about this month?
No, just in general. Just if you look at the whole season, what player can you look at and go,
offensively? Not getting a tremendous amount from catcher. First base is good. Second base is good. Shortstop is offensively okay. Third base, work in progress. Jordan's doing fine for what the situation is. Left field, Newt had a great June. He's not having a good July. Center field has been, if you look at your center field position this year, you're literally down in the bottom three in offense and all these different categories.
No.
And
Underachieving
Jordan
for what you believe they are.
That's a tough question to answer. I mean, I'm happy to take a whack at it, but I don't monopolize the conversation. I mean, I realize some of these areas are growth spots, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I also think, I don't know. It's probably, no, I would say that it's not fair to be harsh on Nathan Church. I would agree with that. But in general, though, the lack of offense from center field has been going on for a couple years now. And is that just part of the process? Right field has been great. I will say that. Right field's been awesome. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'd agree with you on the right field. I'm happy where Nathan Church is. I think he's actually going to have a really good run based on what we're seeing. But when you look at 1 month of production and saying, man, what's going on? Man, that's part of growth. And you guys, Tom or Chris, if you have something to add to what Bernie was saying, because I think he hit all the positions really well. So if you have anything to add, feel free. But it's hard to point to any of those guys, Blaze Jordan, any of them, and say that they're underachieving. I think they're doing exactly what we would anticipate them doing based on where they're at in their careers. And to a decent amount of them, they're actually maybe a tick ahead, which is encouraging. So this is where we just need to continue to stay head down and get the most out of what we've got currently. And our job is to continue to close the gap of what's possible for them. Like, all right, we think they're capable of doing this. Right now we're down here and we just got to inch our way towards that ceiling every day. But it's hard to point towards any one of their profiles and say, man, we're not getting what we thought out of this guy. It's hard to point to any one of those right now and do that.
I got to tell you, man, I strongly disagree with what the manager's saying there. If he's going to make the argument that our expectation with Nathan Church should be that he's a bottom 7% hitter in Major League Baseball, that should be my expectation of Nathan Church, that 93% of hitters should be better than him, that Pedro Pajes, that offense we've seen from him this year is what we should expect, that we should expect Mason Wynn to be worse for his third consecutive year offensively. Now, defensively, he's got no peer. But Mason Wynn was a 730 OPS in 2024, a 670 last year, and a 640 now.
Mm-hmm.
How's that not a disappointment?
Yeah.
Your whole third base situation from Gorman to Blaze Jordan is a disappointment. Left field's a disappointment. Lars Nootbaar had a good start when he came back, but July has balanced that out. Right now, Lars Nootbaar is in the bottom third of baseball offensively. Those are underachievers.
Okay, so I've got a few, there's a lot to respond to here, and that's why I think we need to take this into another segment.
Yeah, we definitely do.
First off, I understand Ali wanting to talk about individuals and not positions. So, because that's where he kind of stopped Bernie, because Bernie was going position by position, and I think Ali wants to go player by player.
Yeah, I'll do it. Herrera's disappointing right now.
Yeah.
He's below last year, disappointing. Mason Wynn, disappointing. Nathan Church, disappointing. Nolan Gorman, disappointing. Victor Scott, are you telling me that coming into the year, the Cardinals and the manager thought that's what Victor Scott was?
No.
And then it's a disappointment. And so is Pedro Paez and Lars Nootbaar and Blaze Jordan and Thomas Ajacey and damn near everybody else not named Walker, Weatherholt, or Burleson.
Yeah, part of the problem, I think, with Ali's argument was we were trying to ignore guys that aren't here anymore. And Nolan Gorman and Victor Scott II are just as important a part of this equation as anything. And what it's done is it's shown where the depth of the organization is, where you really don't have a consistent answer over at third base, and you don't have a consistent answer in center field. Now, look, I'm kind of Team Bernie on the Nathan Church thing. I think you and I will disagree with that a little bit, because they'll tell you that they're seeing some things from him, that they like the approach.
See, this is the thing. What approach? His chase rate's insanely bad. He's literally swinging at everything. Literally swinging at everything. What is good in that?
I don't know.
This is my point. Managers and teams have done this forever, where they're telling us they're seeing things that we're not seeing. But I can look at it right now. He is in the bottom 1% of baseball in chase rate. That's not a good approach. Now, does it mean he's doing nothing good? Of course not. There's some things in there that have been good. But on the whole, when we're talking about expectations, I would say it's not. If you thought he was going to be that, if you thought he was going to be a bottom 9 or 10% hitter in the league, then stop talking about the playoffs. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, we love these guys, that we think they're going to compete, we think they give us a chance to make the playoffs, and then say when they're as bad as they've been, that's what we expected.
Yeah, and again, I'm just not going to hop on the Church thing. He's a young guy who's continuing.
He's 26.
He's still very early on in his major league career, right?
Sure, but I mean, J.J. Weatherholt is too.
Okay, well, J.J. Weatherholt is a different kind of player.
I get it, but
that's
I'm not,
a different specimen.
And I'm not asking him to be J.J.,
right.
But I am saying that being close to league average isn't too high of an expectation.
But the main point here, Kevin, is you and I are in agreement on Ivan Herrera.
Yep.
We're in agreement with Mason Wynn.
Yep.
We're in agreement with whoever's played at third base. We're in agreement on Victor Scott. Yeah, to just allow Pedro Paez to continue to go out there and just not hit at all, where you've got a young guy in Jimmy Crooks who's on the roster. And, Crooks hasn't hit, but he's hit more lately.
But he's also not getting the same run that Paez got.
I would really like to – I'll be critical of Jimmy Crooks when I see him playing every day for
when
an
he gets
extended
more than
amount of
2
time.
starts a week.
Yeah. So we can disagree a little bit on Church, just because I think we view him a bit differently on where he's at in the developmental scale. That's fine. That doesn't change the big picture of where we're both at, that there are definitely individuals on this team who are underachieving.
Yeah, and again, to be clear, this is not about me questioning the job Ali does. I think he's fine. He's a fine manager. He's not the greatest, but he's also still getting there. And as we're pointing out, the roster's not good enough.
Yeah.
And that's the point, but then you can't keep telling us two things at the same time. We can't be talking about the playoffs and then telling us that these numbers that we're seeing are what we should have expected. Can we?
They're trying.
This is what we're getting into. All right, we got more from the manager, more on all of this as we continue on. It's Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler with you here on Redbird Rush Hour.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, seeing a little activity on eastbound Highway 70 downtown. They're moving the cones. I'm not sure if they're going to completely remove them or just maybe let limited traffic through, but it's still closed right now, though. Eastbound 70 closed at East Grand because of an earlier semi-crash. It's still jammed back to about Goodfellow. Eastbound 270 at Bellefontaine over to the Illinois side of the Chain Rocks Bridge is slow. Southbound 255 still closed at 162. You got to get off there. And westbound 162 is a solid jam from 255 over past 111. Northbound 67, if you're going to go the back way, get up into Alton. It's still still slow north of Lindbergh, most of the way up to 94 in West Alton. South 170 is solid jam, Olive to 64. Eastbound 64 delays, Chesterfield Parkway west to about Timberlake, Lindbergh into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley is heavy. Clarkson to Topgolf is slow, backed up Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70. 70 out west. There's heavy traffic both ways around our city, and eastbound Highway 70 actually has slow traffic. Lake St. Louis Boulevard into K, that looks worse than westbound through that area. Southbound 270 backs up in pockets, 364 to 64, but it's still slow down to Doherty Ferry. Southbound 255, still about a half, 3/4 of a mile delay coming down into Route 3 Columbia. Westbound 64 west of 3rd Street across the Poplar heavy. Eastbound 64 delays approaching 159. I'm Roger Brand in the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Brought to you by Duke's Real Mayo.
Duke's Country Song. It's a song about award-winning chefs. Yes, chef. And why they choose Duke's Mayo. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed, your property taxed, everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here, and obviously going through some of the really fun conversation today from Gas House Gang. Fun because it gets you fired up a little bit too. And look, I love the manager pushing back on topics. I think it's great. And I like pushing back myself, which is why I get so fired up on it, because I think the problem that I'm seeing, Matt, is much more a problem of communication than overall philosophy. I don't like the message that guys who aren't performing are meeting your expectation, because if you expected Mason Wynn, for example, to have worse numbers this year than he did last year, which were worse than the year before, You're not advertising it that way because you're talking about him and treating him and you're batting him sixth like he's a legitimate hitter.
Let me ask you this, Kevin, because Mason Wynn and Ivan Herrera are not meeting expectations.
No.
We'll just use those two guys because you and I are a little bit different on some of the other folks.
Well, can we maybe the easier way is to say who is, and there's three.
Well, I want to go down a certain path here, specifically with Ali. What should he say? Because part of his job is, and I'm not saying what he said today was disingenuous. I don't think
he's being honest for sure.
But I also, the manager can't come on the radio and be like, and just throw his guy. Think about last year when they just barely touched on the idea that Jordan Walker was not working hard enough in some things.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a contingent of the fan base that came with pitchforks and
but how did it work out?
Worked out all right. But you can't like just take a guy and just firmly throw him under the bus.
You don't have to. But also don't put it on me like I'm wrong.
Agreed.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying any manager at any team or any head coach in any sport should be taking their players to task on the radio or in the print or anywhere else. Tony La Russa didn't do that. Maybe, again, occasionally, but only in rare circumstances, right?
And seemed always very calculated.
Very calculated with a purpose, like last year with Jordan.
Yes.
Brant Brown and Ollie Marmol did not come on Gas House Gang last year and deliver that message by accident.
No, they did not.
It's because the messages behind the scenes were not getting the job done. And it's the next step, right? You've gradually
saw that with
escalated.
Tyler O'Neill as well.
Exactly right, exactly. So that's not the problem with it. But don't turn it back on me or anyone who sees the problem as if we're crazy.
I agree.
Because I'm not crazy when I look at Mason Wynn's numbers and see that he's getting worse.
It's just a tough spot because Mason Wynn and Ivan Herrera don't need the Jordan Walker or Tyler O'Neill treatment either. Like nobody questions any of what's going on in the clubhouse with those guys and things like that.
And the questions here are not even about. I think all of these guys are busting their asses.
Yeah, so do I.
That's not the question, but it's also not. But it's also right. That's also not the job. That's the expectation.
Yeah.
If you're a professional athlete, busting your ass is what we expect. That's not something you get a pat on the back for.
And they're not handing out scholarships.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dudes that have never made it out of single-A baseball who are the hardest freaking workers you'll ever see.
Yeah. You know what? Nobody outworked me, but I sucked.
Yeah.
I was pretty bad. Not because I didn't try. Trying's great. But again, that's part of the thing is, that's why I'm saying it's getting back to us. I know that the manager knows that they need more from Mason Wynn's bat. And I know that you can't just say it that way. I understand. But don't put it on us like it's us, like we're wrong. Because we're not. You can look at any measurement you want for Mason Wynn. It's worse than it was 2 years ago, and it's worse than it was last year. And it's not bad luck because his underlying stuff matches what his real numbers are. So, and is it disappointing when you have a young star who's an all-star caliber player, Gold Glove, maybe the best shortstop in the game, who's not getting better offensively? In fact, not only not getting better, but getting worse?
Yeah.
That's a disappointment.
It is.
It doesn't mean he stinks. He's awesome. I love Mason Wynn being on the team. But he still has to hit. Pedro Paez, you can love the guy. He still has to hit. Nathan Church may be inexperienced. He still has to hit. It maybe not at a high level, but you got to be something close to average.
And maybe that's where he's going to get.
Maybe. I hope so. And look, there's 2 months left, so we're going to know.
And we are. And that's the other thing is, so Ali comes here and says, we are expecting X, Y, and Z of Church moving forward.
Hope he's right.
Let's file that away.
Yeah.
And as the season moves along, let's see what happens.
And the problem with the conversation is that's great, and I don't think any of us really dispute that there should be better coming. But we're talking about what is at the moment now. With the trade deadline a week and a half away. It's a critical time to know these things, and that's why it's a conversation. So, yes, it could very well be better in a month or 2 months. In fact, it'd be not even irrational. It might be logical that it's going to get better because this is kind of the low point. Right? That's Matt Pauley. I'm Kevin Wheeler. Stick around. More from the manager, some of his thoughts, some other thoughts, not just this one. I think we've beaten this one up, rightfully so because it's a big topic, but we'll beat up some other ones coming up after the news here on KMOX.
At 5:30, this update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got some sunshine. It's 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. If you're a big veggie or salad eater, you might be concerned about what to trust with the Cyclospora outbreak. Maria Kina talked with Andrew Welly of Teese Farm and Market in Maryland Heights.
The more local you can buy, the better, where you know where your food is coming from.
T says there are a few vegetable farmers who still grow lettuce, but this is a tough time of year.
Lettuce is unfortunately right now, when the demand is high because of the problems going around, lettuce just doesn't grow here in the St. Louis area out in the fields because it's just too darn hot. Now, there may be some guys who grow locally hydroponic lettuces.
Hydroponic lettuce is a fast-growing, soil-free crop that yields fresh, crisp greens in just 4 to 6 weeks. It requires 10 to 14 hours of daylight and water kept around 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
St. Louis University says it's taking the next step in geospatial research.
With the Taylor Geospatial Institute spinning off into a separate nonprofit, SLU is launching a new geospatial center.
When people hear about geospatial, they tend to think about a GPS or digital maps.
Dr. Gregory Triplett, Dean of SLU's School of Science and Engineering.
Geospatial science helps us understand where things happen, why they happen there, and how we can make better decisions.
The new Geospatial Center will be focused on multidisciplinary collaborative research that finds solutions to real-world challenges. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The investigation into the Mark Twain Hotel continues. Could other similar investigations follow?
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway has asked the hotel to explain how they plan to address some of the issues causing a nuisance downtown and threatening legal action if they don't comply. She tells KMOX other similar problem properties in St. Louis could fall under the same microscope.
I anticipate that we will see us move on other buildings, and we are working really closely with the St. Louis Police Department for them to identify the properties that are causing them the most problems.
Hanaway adds this effort is also in coordination with the mayor's office to avoid duplicating efforts. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Robots are already common in factories, but now the bots are hitting the books.
Salamanca City Central School District has announced it spent nearly $60,000 on Sally, a humanoid robot that's designed to serve as a teaching assistant. Superintendent Dr. Mark Beeler says the robot will be part of an AI and robotics course designed by Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak.
We're starting extremely small with juniors and seniors, and Sally will act in many ways sort of as a tutor.
The district says robots will never replace teachers, staff members, or meaningful human interaction. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
How much would you pay for a key prop from the Star Wars franchise?
Sold for a record amount this week. The lightsaber from the Empire Strikes Back scene where Darth Vader cuts off Luke Skywalker's hand just before he tells him he is his father. The prop includes lightsaber and hand, and it must have been important to one Star Wars fan in particular. It was sold for more than $3.5 million. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, for tonight, some clouds, 68. For tomorrow, less humid and more sun with a high of 84. Right now, it's 89 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Every year, almost 30,000 babies in America are born with birth injuries. It's every parent's worst nightmare. If your child suffered a birth injury, please call our firm to find out if we can help.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old-timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your Politicians Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, helping politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people. And the Politicians Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside Ford 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, effectively ending our power to stop corrupt and out-of-control politicians.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the politicians' amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for Fair Government.
There's an old joke about Uncle Sam's new tax short form. The first line says, "How much did you make?" The next line says, "Send it in." Really? Not that funny, but that's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay taxes. Steve All of the All Financial Group invites you to take their tax challenge. What if your current plan included thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees? Or maybe higher Medicare premiums or a lower Social Security check? What if the savings you realized could allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about that right now? Take the All Financial Group Tax Challenge and find out. There's no charge. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
Save time and money.
Do it now, don't wait till later. Call the top-notch renovator. It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
What has your candidate actually delivered? In Clayton, Ladue, Olivet, and Warson Woods, there's just one Democrat running for state representative who can answer. That's Sidney Clark. As mayor, he's delivered more than $100 million in economic growth and some of the strongest home values in the region. Balanced budgets, steady leadership, a neighbor since 1973. And now, Sidney Clark will protect what you've built, stopping costly data centers from hiking your utility bills, and voting no on Amendment 5, which actually increases taxes on everything you buy. No other candidate in this race can say it. Sidney Clark has already done the job, and he's ready from day one. Sidney Clark, results, not rhetoric. Democrat for State Representative District 99.
I'm Sidney Clark, and I approve of this message. Paid for by Sidney Clark for State Representative District 99. Tammy Clark, Treasurer.
Each week during the Redbird Rush Hour, we put a spotlight on someone who's making the community better using sports. It's building community with Busey Bank beyond the game. Join us this week for another story of someone who's finding a way to make a big impact on the community we all call home. Brought to you by Busey Bank.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change with interstate closures, unfortunately. This traffic reports the service of Ricken Financial. Eastbound 70 downtown still being diverted off at East Grand. There's delays back through Union. Southbound 255 at 162 still shut down. It's jammed back to 270. 162 westbound from 255 to 111 still a solid jam. And, of course, 111 backed up in that area as well. Also on eastbound 70, we still have this incident. The right lane's blocked. Maybe it's a stalled tractor-trailer or a minor accident. But anyway, the right lane's blocked. It's jammed at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 170, bumper to bumper south of Olive to 64. Eastbound 64 still slow east of Clarkson to Timberlake. Stop and go stuff from Lindbergh into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton headed out through Bellevue's heavy. A little slow at Topgolf and it jams Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to Highway 70. Southbound 270 from Olive down to Doherty Ferries heavy. Downtown westbound 64 across the Poplars a little slow. Eastbound 64 a little slow approaching 159. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Join Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost for Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement, every Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on KMOX. And get more, including the Kickin' with the Rickens podcast, when you visit RickenFinancial.com.
It's 5:41 in Mid-America. This time check being brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, back in on KMOX Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. You've got Sports Open Line at the top of the hour, and then Cardinals pregame. And a little earlier night tonight, 8:38 for the first pitch tonight instead of 9:10.
Which means the game's going to go 14 innings.
Yeah, it'll be a wild-ass
Yeah.
long game, I'm sure. Yeah, good point. Good point. All right, let's continue on with our Tuesday our Tuesday kind of going over some of the key points from Ollie. We talked about the big one already, kind of the expectations from the players and who's underachieving, and we've covered all that. Mm-hmm. He had a couple other interesting thoughts, though.
Yeah, one of the things was on if this team is tired. And I think it's a legit – getting through 162 games is hard for any baseball player, any team. When you've got a young group where a lot of guys haven't done it, and certainly a lot of guys have not been playing meaningful games through 162, it's a legitimate question. It's not just about being physically tired. It's emotionally tired, mentally tired, just worn down. So another bit of a back and forth between Ollie and the guys on where this team is at right now.
Ask you a quick question. If we don't blow that 7-0 lead and Riley punches out that last guy, are you asking me this question?
Maybe.
Doubt it. I'm actually go from doubt it to absolutely not. Because we would have won the series in Arizona. We would have won today, and you guys would have said, man, you take this series, that's a good road trip, come back home in front of your own fans. You guys are in a good spot to continue to go on a run. So this is where, the emotional discipline is so important to me because, we can twist and turn so many times throughout a season based on a couple hiccups that is just, to me, it's noise. So because of the outcome of the last two games, it's not a wear and tear conversation for me. It's we didn't execute more than anything. But when you look at a bullpen or certain players, yes, there is going to be a point this year where guys have thrown more than they ever have. You look at Soriano, he's done a really nice job. We're using him in leverage. We're using him more than he's ever pitched. There's going to be a point where we monitor that, right? Some of our young players, this will be the longest season for J.J. Weatherholt. You have to monitor that as you go down this stretch. So there's different aspects of it individually based where you're looking at it and going, okay, let's make sure we keep a tight eye on this guy to make sure that we don't head or we don't push him too far. So that's definitely a part of this. But I wanted to make sure we draw a line as to are we asking this because the last two games, or are we asking it big picture based on what we know from a data and our eye standpoint moving forward?
I don't know where Ronj was coming from, but if I would have been asking that question, Kevin, I would have been asking big picture. And I think it's a valid question, even if they were undefeated on this road trip right now. And I think it is because of what I talk about. I was talking about it last year with Matthew Liberatore. How often did I bring up hey, they gotta take the foot off the pedal with this guy at some point. He's gonna run into a wall. He's never done this before. I get a bee in my bonnet over the whole surviving 162.
Yeah.
So I think it's a valid question no matter what.
Yeah, see, I think I don't think it's about the last two games.
I don't either.
And I do think that it's a valid question, as Ollie explained, right? He explained all the things that you got to keep in mind. So it's a weird thing for me on this particular topic because I think Ollie's right. I don't think these two things happened these last couple of days because anybody's fatigued. They just had the All-Star break, But big picture, that is a concern. The pushback that I would throw in here is it's not about the last two games. You're 11-17 in your last 28 games. It's a month of this. It's not just 2 days of inconsistent play. It's a month of losing ground and not performing the way you were performing before. And it's normal. Like, that's a season. Seasons are weird. They're not linear. It's not going to be, we're going to go 16-13 every month. Sometimes you're going to go 16-13. Sometimes you're going to go 11-17. Sometimes it's going to be that way. That's okay. And I think that the answer makes sense. Ollie's answer makes sense, but it's not just about these two games. The questions, the concerns that we're all raising about the offense, about the bullpen or whatever, they're not about two games. They're about really what we've seen now for a month and a half.
Yeah, I don't think them being tired led to either of the last two losses.
No.
2 days ago, they just forgot to play how to play baseball. And yesterday, you had a really bad day from your closer.
Yeah.
Who, the metrics on Riley O'Brien for the past 2 months are not good. But to his credit, when he got into games and save situations, he found ways to collect the saves.
Yeah.
That was his first blown save in 2 months.
Yeah.
So there were some other really bad numbers, the ERA, pitching in games where it's not a save situation.
Yeah, he had a couple
taking
rough
losses,
ones in those. Yeah,
all that sort of stuff. And I'm not shuffling that under the rug.
They matter.
The thing that Riley O'Brien's job is to do is to collect saves.
Yes.
That's job number one.
Yes.
And he had done that really well for a while, even when some of those other numbers were starting to fall off. It has nothing to do with anybody being tired.
No, I agree. And again, it is a part of it. Like, look, Riley is doing a job he's never done before for a full season. He's never been a closer for 6 months. So there are going to be bumps. There are going to be those things. I think, again, that's totally normal. It's a really important thing to understand that when you have a lot of players that are being asked to do things they've not done. Kyle Leahy has never started this many games in the big leagues before.
And he's getting
better right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully it lasts because he's, it's funny. I won't get into all of it because it was just the three of us, but you and Bernie and I doing our own little confessional this morning via text exchange about the things we've been wrong about was pretty funny. Like, mine is I didn't think Leahy was going to be any good, and he just keeps getting better.
And I started that because I said I was trying to tell you that the lack of run scoring wasn't
a problem. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, so that one's to me, that's an interesting topic because, yes, it is a thing to manage. It is a thing to be aware of. But I don't think it's a factor for these two games.
No,
I don't know that was the implication either.
No, and I'm sure from Ollie's standpoint, everything that was being asked about him, it felt like it was in relation to what happened over the last 48 hours.
Well, I'm sure it still bothers him.
It better.
Yeah.
It better.
Because it would me if I were him. I'd be a little heated about all that stuff, too.
The people out there who say that they're not trying to win and he's not competitive, he's one of the most competitive dudes I've ever been around. And look at how often he gets thrown out of games and what happens when he gets, like, anybody who doesn't think that Oliver Marmol burns hot on wanting to win games, like, just stop watching because you're not paying attention.
I mean, look, it's one of the top things I like about the guy.
Yeah.
I like the fire. I like that he'll put it back on you on the Gas House Gang. I like that. Mm-hmm. It's fun. He does it with our guys. He does it with the listeners. I love that. That's competitiveness, and not the same as winning. Winning is going to be a little bit. They need more talent to win more, or these guys to grow up more. A combination of the two things. And there's more talent coming in the system, which we'll get to see. All right, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here for another couple of minutes. Moving off of baseball for a second, let's move into real estate. Something I don't know about, but this is why I rely on experts. I rely on Gloria Liu from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty when it comes to real estate. She is St. Louis's real estate expert. If you're thinking about selling your home, look, I've sold homes. I've never gotten to work with Gloria because it wasn't here in St. Louis that I've sold a home. I've had the same one here since I moved here. But I've sold several before, and it's not that much fun. It's way more fun if you got somebody that knows what they're doing like Gloria does. Because what she does is what I wish I had before. Sells your home faster and for more money than the average agent. She's got a database of thousands of buyers in waiting, so you know that there are people looking for houses like yours that are right there and available. She's been doing this for more than 20 years. It got a proven system in place that works, upfront written guarantees that you're not getting anywhere else. As an example, Gloria will sell your home at a price and a time frame acceptable to you, or she will buy your home herself. Or she'll sell your home at 100% of market value and pay you the difference if that doesn't happen. So you got guarantees, a proven system. I'm really privileged that she walked me through that proven system and how it works and why it's been working for so long. You guys just make the call. It's so much easier. 314-325-6888. That's all I'm kind of suggesting here. Make the call to Gloria. She will walk you through it like she did me. 314-325-6888 or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. And if you're looking to up kind of your career, if you're trying to level up a bit, a real estate career, Gloria's also hiring right now. So if you want to join the best, they're looking for motivated inside sales and listing agents right now. So if you want to work with Gloria, work with the best in the business, give her a call. 314-325-6888. As always, Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change on eastbound Highway 70. They're still diverting traffic off at Grand eastbound 70 from the tractor-trailer crash that happened earlier this afternoon east of Salisbury. There's still, looks like oil dry all over the highway there. So they're getting closer, but it's not cleaned up yet. Eastbound 70 backed up at about Goodfellow. Eastbound 270 in North County is thinned out. We still have the closure of southbound 255 at 162. It's jammed back to 270. 162 westbound from 255 past 111. That's still a solid jam. If you're traveling westbound across the Poplar, it's still slow. Eastbound 64 is still slow. About midway up the hill from 157 to 159. Out west, still working this. I guess it's a crash involving a semi. I can see the semi. Right lane still closed. Eastbound 70 just east of Bryan is jammed at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 170 backs up at Olive. Westbound 64 Science Center headed out through McCausland is slow. Still backed up Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70. Eastbound 64 Spady into Big Bend is stop and go. South 270 approaching 64 to Doherty Ferry is the busiest part of that run. Next update at 5:59 for the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
Summer is officially here, and that means the family internet, it is working overtime. All our lives are always online, and that's why I rely on i3 broadband. Traditional cable just can't keep up, but i3 delivers 100% true fiber directly into my home for ultra-smooth, reliable performance. Plus, they're a local provider that actually treats you like a neighbor. Skip the fake fiber. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade because life runs better on fiber, and i3 broadband is here for you.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, last couple minutes, Redbird Rush Hour. Matt, let's zoom out because given the conversation that we heard on Gas House today, the things we've talked about today, I would say if you zoom out 10,000-foot view and you said on opening day, this is where the team would be, I think we would all be like, okay, that'd be all right. You're in a wild card spot. You're over 500. I would say it would qualify as a pretty good season to that point.
I would agree.
So I think we all, and I don't think that because the team is struggling now, that doesn't change that fact. That given where this team was in the offseason, spring training, opening day, and what we all thought, what the projection systems thought, what we all thought, you're better than all of it. You're better than all of it.
Yeah.
Will you end that way? I don't know. We'll see. You got 2+ months to figure it out. There's certainly an argument that you're going to be better this year than anybody thought. Maybe playoffs, maybe not. I think that's the big picture. Is not only is that true, but we're also seeing the next line of impact players coming along. All those big arms.
Yeah.
And bat like Baez and Rainier Rodriguez at AA at 19. I think even with the criticisms of the recent play, the big picture for the St. Louis Cardinals this season has been better than what we thought it would be.
And there's dudes that are just on the doorstep. Like Aaron always likes to send in messages. More talent coming in 3 to 5 years. Aaron, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Baez is like a month away.
Yeah. you've got a million guys at AAA who are going to help this team win games. Okay. Yeah, there's also a bunch of dudes at single A. You know what that's called? It's called a healthy organization that has talent at all levels of the minor league system. Just stop with this.
Just relax.
There's a bunch of dudes at AAA who are going to help this team win games.
Buddy, what's on Sports Up Online?
Bernie's going to be on with us at 6:20.
Right, cool.
Yeah, so we'll kind of continue this conversation with him.
Good times. All right, and so we got Sports Up Online, and then pregame, and then Cardinals Baseball, all coming up here on KMOX.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand.
Phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5, paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, unfortunately, there's still no change with our highway closures. So if you're on southbound 255, you're still being diverted off at 162. It's been shut down south of there most of the afternoon, the rush hour afternoon part anyway. And westbound 162 approaching the 255 area, but it's solid jam west from there all the way to 111, just bumper to bumper the whole way through. And then downtown eastbound 70 still being diverted off at East Grand from the tractor-trailer crash that occurred earlier this afternoon. East of Salisbury, delays back near Union on eastbound 70. South 170 still backs up, or at least it's heavy from Delmar to 64. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker, McCausland area, a little busy. Still backed up west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70. Eastbound Highway 70, we still have this tractor-trailer incident just east of Bryan Road. The right lane's blocked. Traffic still slow at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound 64 still backed up most of the way from Spady through to Big Bend. South 270, 64 down through Manchester, the slowest part there. Then it's opening up. Eastbound 64 just a little slow approaching 159. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The U.S. war with Iran ramping up, with the U.S. targeting Iranian defense systems along the Strait of Hormuz, blocked again to ships. Now Iran-backed Houthis rebels are threatening to cut off ship traffic in the Red Sea, leading President Trump to issue a warning to Iran and its proxies.
We've had no problem with the Houthis. They've had no problem with us.
for a long period of time, including during this conflict. I think that if there is something like that, we'll just have to take care of business.
In Greece, 2 Greek-American tourists were stabbed earlier today at the Acropolis in Athens. Police say both are recovering at a hospital. They say the suspect brandished a knife on the sidewalk. He's now in custody. Tropical storm Bertha gaining strength off Florida's Gulf Coast. And residents in New Orleans spent the day filling sandbags and are preparing for the storm to make landfall in the coming days. Storms are sweeping across the Northeast, including the threat of tornadoes and flooding. This is ABC News. It was just a matter of time before robots made it to the front of the class.
Salamanca City Central School District has announced it spent nearly $60,000 on Sally, a humanoid robot that's designed to serve as a teaching assistant. Superintendent Dr. Mark Beeler says the robot will be part of an AI and robotics course designed by Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak.
We're starting extremely small with juniors and seniors, and Sally will act in many ways sort of as a tutor.
The district says robots will never replace teachers, staff members, or meaningful human interaction. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
There's a new way to get medicine for your pet. CVS is rolling out a new pet prescriptions feature for your fur babies for all of its 9,000 locations across the U.S., and it works pretty much the same way that us humans get our medicine. The vet can give you a paper prescription, and you can bring to a store. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
At 6:02, we've got sunshine. It's 88 degrees downtown at the Arch. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page wants to spend part of a $66 million tourism payment on the Creve Coeur Park Soccer Complex, 3 new turf fields and a new administrative building. He says the investment is about more than soccer.
We know that our population growth over the past 3 decades has been stagnant. Some families see opportunities for their children elsewhere. We need to make St. Louis County the place where families see opportunity for their kids. And that's where we're going with this proposal.
The money comes from a one-time state payment tied to a change in how the Dome and America Center are governed, and it is restricted to tourism-related spending. A new task force is set to explore a multitude of solutions to improve education in the St. Louis region. Amongst the ideas they'll explore, a phased consolidation of districts. Task Force Chair Pamela Westbrooks-Hodge is a former member of the State Board of Education, says slowly consolidating districts can allow others to get on board with the larger plan over time.
Maybe some school districts come in together in wave 1. And then the structure permits the folding in of other school districts, later on when they get to that point.
According to the task force findings, the St. Louis region has lost 30,000 students since 2020, and 30 of the 48 districts they studied have lost at least 5% of their student body. In Manchester, aldermen vote 4-1 to deny a plan from Suntrup Automotive Group to convert a former schoolhouse on Henry Avenue into a BMW service center. It came after weeks of opposition from neighbors, including Erica Gotway, who lives on Henry Road.
Tonight, you're seeing something that doesn't happen often. Neighbors who barely knew each other came together. We spoke to the media. Hundreds of people signed the petition. People wrote letters. They made phone calls. They filled this room.
Suntrup, which runs the nearby BMW dealership, wanted to add repair bays and a 45-car lot behind the 119-year-old school building, along with a coffee bar, merchandise store, and podcast studio. Owner Craig Suntrup argued the renovation would have improved the building and created jobs. No apartments at the quarry in Ladue. Council members voted unanimously last night to reject TriStar Properties' plan for a 235-unit complex and dozens of homes on the former quarry site off McKnight. The Planning Commission already recommended against it back in June. A 55-year-old man is charged in connection with a stabbing in St. Charles.
Abdul Zahir Hassan has been charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action in connection to the stabbing of a 35-year-old man in the lower abdomen. St. Charles police say it happened in the 1800 block of Zambell Road on Saturday. They say the two men knew each other, and Hassan was taken into custody shortly after the stabbing. He is currently being held on a $250,000 cash-only bond. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
There is something called blue-green algae lurking in lakes, streams, and rivers, and it has the potential to kill your dog if they ingest the water.
Medical Director Dr. Katie Groom of Veg Brentwood tells KMOX the risk is just too high to take a chance, because all too often, even if you get your dog to the doctor quickly, it might not be enough time.
But my rule of thumb is better safe than sorry. So if you're going to take your pet on a hike or a walk, bring water, bring them their own little water bowl, but bring nice fresh water so that we can just keep them safe. Don't let them swim. Make sure you have a way to keep them cool, because a lot of times we're in that time of year. Again, we're still seeing heat stroke because it gets so hot, and even short walks can pose a threat. So we think, oh, let's let them cool off in the pond, but that can be just as deadly.
Groom says if the dog does drink blue algae in her 15-year career, by the time a person gets their dog to the vet, they usually die. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Blues fans still don't know where they'll watch games next season. The team and the NHL are announcing a new deal giving St. Louis control over its own broadcasts, but specific agreements with cable, satellite, and streaming providers have not been finalized. The Blues say they want games available on all platforms. That could include over-the-air. Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale stay in the booth. It is 6:06, and we've had some major traffic impacts this afternoon into this evening. So let's get to the latest right now with Roger Brand, who's keeping an eye on things in the traffic center. Roger.
Yeah, unfortunately, Michael, there's still no change on these. The big ones we've been talking about, these interstate closures, are still with us. There's still, it looks like they've got a sweeper out, and they're cleaning up oil dry. This tractor-trailer crash, I think, happened around 1 this afternoon downtown, eastbound 70 east of Salisbury. So it's still shut down. They're still diverting eastbound 70 traffic off at East Grand. Like I said, they're getting closer to cleaning up, but it's not done yet. They still have a lot of equipment out there on eastbound 70 east of Salisbury that delays back through Kings Highway. And southbound 255 is still shut down at 162. That's from a little more recent accident, but that's been closed all rush hour long. South 255 is still jammed south of 270, and westbound 162 is a solid jam from 255 all the way over through 111. They cleared that incident eastbound 70 east of Bryan Road. The semi is still on the shoulder, but the right lane's open, so there's still a little bit of a backup there. South 170 delays from Delmar to 64. Westbound 64 is still slow. Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70. Eastbound 64 backup approaching Lindbergh through Clayton Warson. Looks like an incident there. And then McKnight to Big Bend, you're on the brakes after that. And downtown eastbound 44, a little backup from the Poplar in through the Arch Grounds, getting off at that Laclede's Landing exit. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Our latest cool front right on track. The winds have turned to the northwest, and that is good news in the summertime. Partly cloudy skies, cooler and less humid as we go through the overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it is here. Our temperatures will be falling out of the 80s this evening. 68 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny, beautiful, less humid. 84 degrees on Wednesday. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, 64. Thursday, sunny and nice, 82 degrees. Thursday night, partly cloudy, 65. Friday, a little bit on the unsettled side Friday, partly sunny skies. There'll be some scattered thunderstorms around 80 degrees. That's going to bring back the summer feel for the weekend. 89 on Saturday, 95 on Sunday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
We've got some sun. It's 87 downtown at the Arch now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, here we go. Welcome in. It's Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us. Have you for about an hour and a half tonight. Our coverage of Cardinals baseball will begin at about 7:40, so we're going to wrap up the show around 7:35 or so. So, yeah, 90 minutes or so. We got a couple things to get to. Our good friend Bernie Miklas, he is going to join us in about 10 minutes or so, and we got a lot of things to get to with Bernie, get his thoughts on what we saw from the Cardinals last night. Another really, really tough loss. And I had some interesting interactions on Twitter today. I'll talk about that in a moment. First off, just the normal housekeeping items to get out of the way at the top of the program. If you want to call or text, the phone number 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And for those of you who are watching on the video stream, feel free to leave a comment, and we'll get to some of those as we do go along through the show this evening. Just really tough day for the Cardinals yesterday. Just losing that game yesterday as a back-to-back on the game on Sunday where they had the 7-0 lead. That's a really tough 2 days for Cardinals fans. Really tough 2 days for Cardinals fans. Now, the games are not similar at all. Yesterday, you chalk it up to a closer who just did not have it. And Riley O'Brien has been pretty good this year, but there have definitely been some things. In fact, this is this could be the number one thing I talk about with Bernie today, because I was reading his column today. And if you don't read his morning column each morning, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it's awesome. It's fantastic. It's a really, really good way for me to get things started and just kind of get my mind going on where I want to go throughout the day, especially when it comes to my Cardinal thoughts. He, in his morning column today, pointed out all of the not so great numbers for Riley O'Brien, and he's spot on every single one of them. The one thing I would come back with is, before last night, O'Brien had done the job in save situations. He had not blown a save in about 2 months prior to last night's game. And as a closer, that is the single most important thing that you can do. There are other important things that you can do. You're not always pitching in save situations. And we've seen him come in and tie games and lose some games. Like, there's been some things he has not done well. But until last night, he had figured out a way to close out games. He'd figured out a way to get the saves. He had been 12 for his last 12 save opportunities before last night's game, dating back, I believe it's May 19th. So just about 2 months. Last night was a really bad night for him. It was a really, really bad night for him. And where I was thinking through it, was this a continuation of his struggles that he's really been able to work through in save situations and work around would be the better way to say it. Is it a continuation of the struggles that he's been able to work around in save situations, or is it kind of its own thing? Because we really haven't seen him blow that many saves over the last 2 months. He does have 5 blown saves this year. A lot of people on social media today wanted to bring that to my attention. That is tied for the second most amount of blown saves in Major League Baseball this year. Now, at the same time, there's a lot of guys on that list who have 5 or more blown saves who are pretty darn good pitchers. So that having the 5 blown saves doesn't necessarily mean that you're not doing your job. So there's a lot that gets into it. So I do want to get Bernie's thoughts on it, and we'll have a fun back and forth, I'm sure, on that coming up here in just a little while. We're going to play more of what Ali had to say. I thought the conversation today that Oliver Marmol had during the Gas House Gang was really interesting, really interesting. And I appreciate the fact it's not easy to hop on and do that show and get those kind of questions the day after the 2 most recent losses. And was he a little bit raw today? I think so, as he should be. When things are not going well, you shouldn't be happy about it. Any of us that care about our jobs, and I hope most of us do. I certainly care about my job. I want to do a good show every day. I want to see things. I'll tell you what, there are times I kick myself because there'll be something I miss in a game, and I'll be reading stuff maybe after I'm done with post game, or I'll be reading stuff the next day, and something that I just missed, or a point that somebody else made that I think is absolutely fantastic. And if I didn't have it on the post game that day, I'm frustrated with myself. Like that's how it's supposed to be. When you do your job and you have pride in the work that you do, you should be frustrated when things are not going well. So things are not going well for the Cardinals. In case you haven't noticed, the last 2 days have been tough, and they have not won as many games as they would have liked to have won here over the last few weeks. They've got over the last few weeks, they have one of the worst winning percentages in Major League Baseball. That's the fact of the matter. Now, the good thing is they have a group of teams that are right next to them in the wild card race that are kind of in the exact same spot. I think this is where there's a little bit of a disconnect, I think, in how we evaluate trying to get that final wild card spot. Because previous to them adding the second and third wild card, when there was just one wild card in each league, when it was 4 playoff teams, that 4th wild card, if you were the final team into the playoffs on your side, it was tough to get in. You were contending with some really, really good teams. So all of a sudden, if you went on a losing streak, if you were having a really hard time winning games, well, it would be incredibly, incredibly, incredibly unlikely that all the other teams around you in the standings also were having a hard time winning games. Didn't always happen that way. There were certainly weird situations where everybody seemed to be losing, but the barrier to entry to the playoffs was so much tougher previously because of the less playoff spots. Therefore, if you were trying to get one of the final playoff spots, you were going up against better teams than now. If you're trying to get one of those final playoff spots, the teams that you're going against are not as good. Do you remember the COVID year where nobody would win at the end of that of the 60-game season, where every team basically that grabbed the final few playoff spots just backed their way into the playoffs? Like that's kind of what you see sometimes, because it's just the Pittsburgh Pirates are not a very good baseball team. The Arizona Diamondbacks are not a very good baseball team. The Washington Nationals are not a very good baseball team. The Miami Marlins are not a very good baseball team. They're not bad. They're just not. They're not exceptional. They're not great. They're not teams that are going to go on deep playoff runs. And that's the same way you kind of look at the Cardinals. There's value in being in the playoff race. There's value in getting to the postseason. But the teams that they're contending against to get into the postseason, it's a lot different in today's format than it was previously. We'll take a break. I'm late for a break. We got to get to Bernie. He's with us next. Looking forward to the conversation. We're going to have Bernie Miklasz with me in just a moment. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
If you're having a major project done at your house, it can be a long process. It can be kind of tedious or frustrating, and hopefully, though, when it's all done, you can stand back and look and think, oh my gosh, this is an incredible improvement. Sometimes it doesn't work that way, though, if you choose the wrong company. That's why I'm telling you that if you're thinking about a major project in your outdoor space, even a minor project, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, because Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. They only use the highest quality products. They have their own installation crews with years of experience. That is extremely important. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 58 years, a quality company, and they offer value. They're not going to be your cheapest bid, but they're going to be the best, and it's going to last for years to come. So you can stand back and think, money well spent. They'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing if you mention me, Debbie Monterey. Stop by and visit them, or visit them online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
This year, America celebrates 250 years. 2.5 centuries of courage, sacrifice, and family stories passed down from one generation to the next. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger, founders of Legacy Box. Your family's piece of the American story is sitting in an attic or closet right now, trapped on aging VHS tapes, camcorder tapes, film reels, and fading photos.
Those boxes hold moments you can never recreate. Your wedding day, your children's voices when they were little, grandparents coming back to life on screen.
Over 2 million families have trusted Legacy Box. And we've just partnered with the USO to digitize fragile handwritten letters from World War II, helping preserve American history for future generations.
As America turns 250, remember that your family is a part of the American story. Preserving those voices, faces, and moments is a part of your responsibility to the next generation. Don't let them disappear on your watch.
Visit legacybox.com/radio for our amazing America 250 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to save.
Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct. To the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Aging control systems can increase downtime and cybersecurity risk, especially in operations that run 24/7. Graybar helps organizations evaluate automation architectures and support the right upgrades, whether through incremental updates or full system replacements. The result is better visibility, stronger reliability, and a scalable foundation ready for what's next. Yep, Graybar does that.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
Save time and money.
Do it now, don't wait till later. Call the top-notch renovator. It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at as we do roll on here on a Tuesday evening, we will take you into Cardinals baseball. Our coverage tonight begins in an hour and 18 minutes at 7:40 this evening. Cardinals and Angels from Anaheim. One of my favorite things we do every week. We had to move it up a day this week because we got no shows over the next few days, but I always love being able to talk to our guy, Bernie Miklas. He's all over KMOX. You already heard him today on the Gas House Gang talking with Ollie. You hear him there at the Glover Show, Sports on a Sunday morning, and here on Sports Open Line, of course, his video content, his written content can all be taken in over at STL Sports Central, and he's a very busy guy. He finds time for us. Hey, Bernie, how are you?
Oh, I'm always happy to join you, man. I'm doing good, man. Just grinding away.
I was reading your column today, and it's always funny because I don't disagree with very many things you say, but sometimes I take maybe a different angle on it. And
Sure.
you went through all the numbers that are bad for Riley O'Brien, and every single one of them's correct. I am not pushing back on a single number that you listed. I look at O'Brien and I look at the fact that he has not blown a save in 2 months before yesterday. It was May 19th. He had been 12 for his last 12 save opportunities. So I say this is a guy who's struggling, but he's working through his struggles and he's finding a way to convert saves, which is the most important part of his job. That ended yesterday, but where I'm having a problem is I don't know if last night is just a continuation of all the numbers that you mentioned because they're all very bad, or if that was just he is in a save situation and he didn't come through, and that's something that hasn't happened in about 2 months, and it's a rare circumstance. That's where, if that makes sense, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
No, I know exactly where you're coming from because after all, the job of a closer, the way it evolved into, I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago, it's like really all of these teams care about, priority number one, without a doubt, is like, okay, you got to get those final 3 outs for us. How many times have you done it? How many times in a row have you done it? How many times have you failed to do it? And if you do it, you do it that way. I mean, yeah, bottom line, fine. I wouldn't disagree with you on that, because that's one way to judge a closer. So it's an important way to judge a closer. My point in bringing up Riley O'Brien is that I don't, maybe I'm out to lunch, which is actually probably very true. But whenever he has a rough outing or a rough appearance, it's like, I'm always surprised that people are surprised by this. because he's had a really rough time since April 25th, 28 appearances ago. And to me, I hate to say this because I don't want to be negative about the guy. He's a good man and he's worked hard. He's overcome a lot of stuff and he's got really good stuff. But, it's when he comes in now, I can't say that I'm confident that it's going to go smoothly. And that's kind of my point. I'm a little stubborn, I guess, and that's one of my faults. By running his numbers, it's just I want to, for how many people read me, and probably not that many, but I want to just make a point that, this is not exactly stable, and this is nothing new, and this has been going on for a while, and I'm concerned about it. And I think when he was named an all-star, it kind of made all that go away. Well, he's an all-star. Yeah, okay. But you don't get immunity if you're an all-star. Anyway, I don't know if I'm explaining it well or not.
No, and I know what my weaknesses are, Bernie, very much so. And I like to be a positive kind of guy. And I did this with Matt Swanson over and over and over. And sometimes I just want to kick myself at the end of it. I'll look at a guy's last week, a guy's last 2 weeks, and I'll say, okay, it's fixed. It's coming back together. So for O'Brien going into yesterday's game, he had not given up a run over his last 8 outings. And to me, that felt like, okay, this is going to be the start of him getting back to who he was for the first month of the season. And there were still some things that were going on, whether it was walks, whether it was hit batters during that time that he didn't give up any runs. I'm not trying to just gloss over all of that. But then it all just came crumbling down in one night last night.
Yeah, and one of the problems is throughout this, even when he gets through it okay, and listen, man, I give him credit for that because it's not easy when things are going wrong, but you still maintain your poise. I think he's done a better job of that, to your point, in recent weeks. But he doesn't have many smooth innings the way he was. There's always something going on. I mean, he hasn't had many 1, 2, 3 innings, and he sort of this is what makes me nervous about him. Too often he sets himself up for extra tough situations that actually make him more vulnerable. And maybe I was just spoiled by what he did early in the season or what we saw last year. Maybe I expect too much. Maybe I'm not being fair. But I just I think the best point you've made is that, his previous 8 appearances pretty much incident free. And a guy like me that likes to analyze and evaluate things, I should be fair to and acknowledge that as well. So I'll try to do better on that for sure.
I don't think you have to do better. I just, I think sometimes I get too locked in on, because it's a small, and I get mad at people looking at small sample sizes, and then Bernie, I go look at small sample sizes. So it's a flaw for me. I did look because a lot of people were talking about how much traffic he gives up. I did look this up. There are 22 pitchers in Major League Baseball with double-digit saves. 13 of the 22 have a whip above 1. So Riley is far from the only closer that's dealing with traffic very regularly.
Yeah, no doubt. And listen, he's the only guy they have that can do the job, really, in my opinion. So there was never a point, with Ollie Marmol or just in my work where I've ever said they need to sack him as the closer. No, I mean, he's still their best option. And, I've been around a long time and I've seen closers go through this, and, some of them just weren't very good to begin with. But the one thing about Riley O'Brien is he's abundantly talented. And one thing, I was talking to Ollie about this one time, and, Ollie just said, this guy's, he's overcome a lot. He's a tough guy. He's still really learning how to be a closer at the major league level. And so sometimes he fights it, and we're willing to put up with that. We want to put up with that. We're happy to put up with that because he's just so talented and he's got such great stuff. It's worth, we have to be patient when he's going through one of those periods where things are a little shaky. We're not going to bail out on him because he's too good to do that. And I totally agree with that. I do. I totally agree with that.
One of the frustrating things also about yesterday is they got good work from the bullpen in front of O'Brien, and that has not always been the thing that's happened. It's not a situation where they were up by 5 runs, and then the bullpen all of a sudden turned it into a 2-run game, and you needed O'Brien to come in and close it out. That was a tight game that 2 other relief pitchers who have been a little hit or miss lately, they did their jobs, and unfortunately Riley wasn't able to do his.
Right, and that's the problem with the bullpen. It's there's just a lot of you never know exactly what you're going to get with some of these guys, and when they don't have JoJo Romero, which is a huge loss, he's sort of the glue to everything, and then it sort of turns everything else upside down, and you're using guys in different roles, or you have to stop using guys because they're pitching too much, and it just makes it all go helter skelter. But the Cardinals, they're 4-9 in their last 13 games. And, since June 17th, going back to July 5th, pardon me. They're 4-9, and that's the worst record in the National League over that time. And one of the problems is, I did my afternoon column on this. It was an eye opener. The bullpen in general. In fact, Riley O'Brien's probably, other than last night, he's probably innocent of most of this. But the Cardinals bullpen in the 7th, 8th, 9th innings during this run where they're on, where they've let. I think, what did I have during this time? I mean, they've had like 8 games. Well, I don't want to say that because I'm going to misquote my own stat. But they've had leads at some point. From the 6th inning on, they've had leads, and there were like 8 times when that's happened. And like 6 times the leads got away, and they went 2-6 in those games. And so that's, to your point about the setup. The setup issue has been a problem too. But the Cardinals, offensively and defensively, the thing that I came up with, and I did put a note on this on X, during this 4-9 stretch that they're in, they've been outscored in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings 26-5. I mean, that's just stunning, right?
Yeah.
Because it tells you your offense is disappearing when the games are on the line, and it tells you that your bullpen's getting blown up too often. I would say, without sounding like dramatic, that's kind of a fatal combination, I would say, right? Well, we can't score, but the bullpen's getting blown up too. So, okay, we'll keep fighting it, right? I hope it settles down because I'd like to see this team do well. I like this team.
Something that's not being talked about a lot right now, Bernie, and I've just been thinking about it a little bit lately. Haven't talked about it much myself. One of the things that made the bullpen so dangerous and so effective last year was you had Swanson and Leahy who were covering multiple innings in high leverage. Yeah. And they don't have a multiple inning high leverage guy right now on this roster. Soriano was that for maybe a little while, but they've stopped using him for multiples. He's not got any up downs on him for the most part. They're being really, really careful with him. We want to make such a big deal about short starts really hurt the bullpen, and that's true. I'm not running away from that at all. But what also hurts the bullpen is when you got a bunch of dudes who you don't trust for more than 1 inning, so you're forced to use even more guys. Like if there's an impactful thing from last year to this year, it's the lack of guys who can cover multiples. And what's frustrating about that is that was a key talking point in the offseason, that they wanted to go find guys for the bullpen that could handle multiple innings.
No, that's exactly right. And Swanson and Leahy were unbelievable last year. And you look back to it in retrospect. It's really amazing that it's most teams you have one guy who can do that. They had 2 guys, and Ollie and Dusty Blake set it up to where they rotated those guys. They had a schedule, because obviously if a guy goes 2 innings, they don't want to pitch him the next day. But they didn't skip a beat. They always had one of those guys ready to go. I can't say 100% of the time, but overwhelming majority of the time, they had one of those guys ready to go multiple innings. They don't have it this year. That's why I'll tell you the one reason I've softened a little bit. I was one of those people yapping about Justin Brule all the time until I started looking at his numbers. He's actually been better than people think. Yeah. And one of the things, a lot better than people think. And one of the things, he provides real value because he is one of those guys that can give you 2 innings. And sometimes he gives you 2 innings where maybe you're 3 runs behind or something. Maybe you're not hanging on to a lead. But he'll fill those innings, and that's a valuable thing because someone's got to fill it, and it saves the manager from having to use another pitcher or two, and there's value in that.
We've been talking for like 10 minutes, and we've just been talking about pitching, and relief pitching is an issue, but if they would have gotten an add-on run here or there last night goes down completely differently. It was a night where they scored 2 runs, both in 1 inning. One of the runs scores on an RBI ground out. The offense is leaving so much to be desired right now.
You know, it really is. They've been the way I look at it, man, is like, you know, when you score 4 runs, it's below average. You know, because the league-wide thing's more like, you know, 4.5 runs, like teams collectively average that. But if, you know, you look at the Cardinals in July, for example, or if you even go back a little further, they have a really large percentage of games where they score 4 or fewer runs, and they have a terrible record in those games, as you might imagine. So I think the offense has become a real problem. And what'll happen is, like, those back-to-back games early in the month, or, you know, late June, early July, where, you know, they scored 28 runs in 2 days against the Braves, and then the opener at Wrigley Field, and they scored 7 runs Sundays. So what'll happen is, like, okay, that's 30. They scored 35 of their 79 runs over this stretch in 3 games, which means in the month of June, the other 15 games, they've averaged like 3.1 runs per game. You know, and if that's, you know, 15 out of your 18 games, you know, you're getting 3 or less, or sometimes 4 or less, especially with this bullpen. I mean, you're setting yourself up to be, like, your odds of winning really go down. And in those games where they, like I mentioned, those games where they, you know, scored 4 or less or 3 or less, their record, and I have that in a column that I put up a little while ago. I can't find it right now. Their record in those games is really bad. I think the 15 games I alluded to where they scored 4 or less, 15 times, it's their record's 4-11 in those games.
Not good.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not good.
And they don't have enough guys hitting either. They really don't. There's a lot of guys that really need to be horses in their lineup who aren't. Herrera is one of them for sure. Nootbaar has had a poor July. I mean, that's a fact, not an opinion. We have seen they've been getting very little from the catcher position offensively this month. I think Blaze Jordan, all things considered, is doing fine. But center field is a black hole where the offense disappears to. And we were talking with Ollie about that today. And, you know, and I was watching you in Wheeler, and I agree with you. The thing about Nathan Church is that, look, we can do the whole tough guy thing, you know, and, well, that's not good enough and all that. Okay. Nobody's saying it's good enough. But there's a different standard for someone who is, say, for example, Mason Wynn, who broke in with the Cardinals in 2023, where you judge his offense on a different scale than you would a rookie who's still learning the ropes. So I think it's preposterous to act like he's some kind of failure or something. No, he's having the trials and tribulations of a really inexperienced major league player. So like I told Ollie, yeah, I think that's a growth spot, and this is what the whole season was set aside for. You're going to find that you got to give a guy like that a chance. They like him a lot. So how are you going to give him a chance when you have people in the media going absolutely fruitcake when he has a bad 3 or 4 weeks? The Cardinals aren't in contention to win a World Series, okay? Like, do we not forget what the purpose of the season was about? So one thing I need to do, even if other people in the media won't do, one thing I'm going to hold myself to doing is always remembering, before going nuts on something, remembering, okay, well, what player are we talking about? Are we talking about one of their really inexperienced guys? Or are we talking about a veteran who should be better? There's a huge difference. Like Ivan Herrera and Nathan Church have both had terrible months. There is a huge difference in terms of what's reasonable to expect from those guys. You know, Church should be judged a lot differently than Ivan Herrera.
I thought it was a really cool interaction today when, and I hope you don't mind me saying this.
No,
when you were going position by position, and Ali didn't want to do that. Ali wanted to go dude by dude, and it's a different because we're going to judge Nolan Gorman different than we're going to judge Blaze Jordan, even though they both play third base. So I think it's really, really fair to look at Nolan Gorman, to look at Victor Scott II, to look at Ivan Herrera, to look at Pedro Pages, to look at Mason Wynn, and say that these guys are not living up to what we thought they were going to be offensively when the season got started. But then when you do look at a completely unproven guy like a Nathan Church, like a Blaze Jordan, I'll even throw Jimmy Crooks into that, it's a very different judging scale for those guys.
Well, that's exactly right. And I wanted to go around the horn that way because, number one, it would help me remember who's at each position, than randomly just picking names. But I'll be honest with you, I thought that was a good way to go. But in all candor, I wish I would have had more time to crunch down on each one with Ali, where, when we run around the horn, for example, when I got to Mason Wynn, I didn't even use the name. I said, shortstop, okay. When I said that, I'm not saying that he was good. I'm saying, well, it's okay, that type of thing. In other words, not much going on there. So it can be a tough format at times, right? So I don't want to hog the mic, and I don't want to, take over a show because that's just not fair, and you're also being a bad teammate if you try to do that. So, but that's the kind of thing I would love basically to have like 45 minutes with Ali and go over every single one of these guys. And I would have a chance to maybe challenge him on some of these things. And by the way, he likes that.
Yeah.
In fact, he wants that. That's what some people don't understand. He actually wants to be pushed and challenged. He enjoys that. That's one of the reasons why he's on KMOX. So I would have loved to have had like kind of an expanded time period where we could have really gotten into the nitty gritty on all of these guys.
It's a really tough thing for him to navigate because he's being honest, but he also can't just take one of his guys, lay him down on the road, and let the bus trample over him 5 times.
Well, that's exactly right. And we all need to understand that. And the other thing, people, as I like to say, people will never, this was so long ago, people will forget the reference because a lot of time's passed. But those type of things are not supposed to be an updated Jerry Springer show, where if Ali, if Ali and I where I say, well, you're not getting much, you're not getting much out of your catcher position. And then he would go into his spiel about I wouldn't say any of those guys are underachieving. And by the way, I didn't, that was the one thing about the interview, but I thought kind of weird because he never used the term underachieving as if tell me who's underachieving. Well, he did say that, but I didn't realize that was the only criteria we could use. So I was a little out of step, and that's my fault. But it would be like if Ali, challenged something of mine, and then, what am I supposed to do? On X and some of these online forums, they think my job or someone's job is to start calling the guy names or something. Oh, you moron. What are you talking about? That kind of thing. No, that's how it works where uncivilized morons do roam. But when you have the manager of a baseball team, you can ask your questions. It can be direct. They can be tough. But it's not a Jerry Springer show, okay? It just isn't.
He is the great Bernie Miklasz. Again, read him and watch him at STL Sports Central, and you hear him all the time here on KMOX. We love having him a part of everything that we've got going. Bernie, I love our conversations. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, man. I always look forward to it. Because we get into it. I like it. We get down deep into it.
There you go. Very good. Thanks,
See you,
Bernie.
buddy.
Yep.
Have a great night.
You too. That's Bernie Miklasz joining us. We got to get to a break. We'll be back in just a moment here on KMOX.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old-timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your Politicians Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, compelling politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people. And the Politicians Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside Ford 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, effectively ending our power to stop corrupt and out-of-control politicians.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the politicians' Amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for fair government.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, and now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset, so enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Man, I love being able to tell you about my friends at i3 Broadband. They are the internet service provider in the Pauley household, and I would not want to have anybody else. I always say there's only 3 things that actually matter when it comes to internet. How fast is it? Well, they got gig speed internet, 1 gig, 2 gig, 8 gigs, and oh yeah, by the way, they always mirror upload and download speed. There's a lot of providers that do not do that. They'll give you fast download speed, but not fast upload speed. It's fiber right into your home. It's fast. It's really fast. How about reliability? Without a doubt, the most reliable internet I have ever had. That's the bottom line. I could go on and on and on about how it doesn't drop, but it doesn't, and it's the best. And then the price. I know every other internet service provider I've had, I pay my bill each month. I go, what am I paying for? How can internet be this expensive? I never say that about i3 Broadband. I'll be walking around my neighborhood. I'll see the i3 trucks. I always know when people are getting it installed. More and more people are getting i3 Broadband, and rightfully so, because they're realizing you're not going to get better internet in St. Louis. i3broadband.com/radio. i3broadband.com/radio. Put your address in, see if they're available in your neighborhood. If you've done it before and they weren't, try it again. They're always adding new neighborhoods to the St. Louis area. i3broadband.com/radio.
Listen up, everybody. You think you know who's going yard today? Well, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to prove your baseball expertise with Daily Dingers, and this is how it works. You make your pick on who's hitting a home run. If you're right, you get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a shot at extra winnings. So now, when your favorite superstar knocks it out of the park, it'll feel that much sweeter. Daily Dingers is free to play, and you can lock in a pick every day of the MLB season. That's why FanDuel is the home for home runs. Go to FanDuel.com/Missouri, FanDuel.com/Missouri to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer today. This is your chance to call your shot on FanDuel, official partner of MLB. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms, sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor, and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
Relive the magic of the 1904 World's Fair when the heartwarming hometown favorite Meet Me in St. Louis returns to the Muni stage August 6th through 13th. Sponsored by Commerce Bank and Commerce Trust Company. Your seats are waiting at muni.org.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it as we do continue on. So we're going to keep going with something that we do on Tuesdays here during Redbird Rush Hour and also Sports Open Line. We don't have full sports open lines or almost full sports open lines very often during the baseball season on a Tuesday, but with the Cardinals out west, we've got a little bit of time. We want to keep going through some of the things that were said today by Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. And I thought one of the most key things they talked, because we've spent a lot of time today talking about underachieving. Well, and from a hitting standpoint. And one of the guys we talked about is Ivan Herrera. Herrera is hitting too many ground balls. The launch angle has really dropped for him. And I know people hear launch angle sometimes and they kind of roll their eyes. But the difference with Herrera really has been that. If he was doing everything else the same, especially more so before the last week or couple weeks, he's in a bit of a slump. But the biggest, from a season, from a whole standpoint, the problem with him is he has not been getting the ball in the air enough. And that's something he's working on. We can also say the same thing about Blaze Jordan. This is what Ollie had to say about those guys and the things they're working at where they can become a lot more impactful if they can make a couple changes.
That's a real thing for him. No different than Blaze. Blaze is very similar. You look at the ground ball rate. The profile looks like Jordan when we were trying to get him off the ground. It was like 55, 56% on the ground. And Herrera's in that bucket as well, where the better we get at getting him off the ground, he hits the ball hard enough. He does a really nice job with 2 strikes and controls the strike zone. That's a big part of what we're seeing out of him right now. So when I mentioned earlier, there's some mechanical things that, like, he's feeling good. Like, if you asked him right now, like, hey, how's your body? He says 100%. Like, does not want an off day. And it's not him just trying to be like, no, I want to play every day. Like, his body's in a really, when you DH every day, you don't get tired. And that's where he's at. He's like, man, my body feels great. I'm working on my swing, but my body's in a really good spot. So when I mentioned mechanical adjustments, that's exactly what I'm speaking to. It's getting him in the air. He doesn't have to think pull side as like some, because he can spray the ball all over the field, but just getting him off the ground is an important part to this whole thing. Absolutely.
That is Oliver Marmol talking more specifically about Ivan Herrera, but he kind of brought Blaze Jordan along for the ride on that. And it's a big thing. It's a really important thing. And I'm telling you, if Herrera just starts hitting the ball in the air just a little bit more, all the other numbers are going to start falling along with that. I said yesterday, I think it was on the postgame show, I said yesterday that I would not have been shocked if we would see Herrera get maybe a day off today. That's not going to happen. He did address this, and we'll see if we can play it coming up in the 7 o'clock hour if we have time. They are looking for a day or two to get Herrera out of a game, but you heard him right there say that the impact on a player's body when they're DHing more often than not it's not a huge impact. And Herrera does catch a couple times a week, but there's a lot more time that he's spending DHing, and they don't feel like fatigue or being tired or anything like that is leading to what we're seeing right now from Ivan Herrera at the plate. That's just about going to do it for hour number one of the program. We'll talk mostly baseball in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll talk a little City SC. They're back in action coming up tomorrow night. 7 o'clock news with Michael Calhoun on the way next here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Electronic Arts blockbuster franchise Madden NFL is coming to Apple's subscription gaming service, Apple Arcade. Madden NFL 27 Arcade Edition will run on all of Apple's hardware, including iPhones, iPads, and Macs, while supporting cross-device play. Madden NFL 27 Arcade will also feature a narrative messaging system that provides scenarios tied to player and team performance. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck, taxed. Your property, taxed. Everything you buy, taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
What has your candidate actually delivered? In Clayton, Ladue, Olivet, and Warson Woods, there's just one Democrat running for state representative who can answer. That's Sidney Clark. As mayor, he's delivered more than $100 million in economic growth and some of the strongest home values in the region. Balanced budgets, steady leadership, a neighbor since 1973. And now, Sidney Clark will protect what you've built, stopping costly data centers from hiking your utility bills, and voting no on Amendment 5, which actually increases taxes on everything you buy. No other candidate in this race can say it. Sidney Clark has already done the job, and he's ready from day one. Sidney Clark, results, not rhetoric. Democrat for State Representative District 99.
I'm Sidney Clark, and I approve of this message. Paid for by Sidney Clark for State Representative District 99. Tammy Clark, Treasurer.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. The Iran wars cost over $37 billion, says Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to a Senate Appropriations Committee, asking for $87 billion more.
Without these funds, we face critical shortfalls that threaten our ability to also simply pay our service members, rapidly replenish equipment and munitions, and sustain vital operations without disruption.
Hegseth was interrupted by protesters. Democrats pressed him on the war's aims. There's a tornado watch from Delaware to New York City to upstate New York, plus thunderstorms and torrential downpours. Over 2,000 flights canceled. Filling sandbags in New Orleans ahead of Tropical Storm Bertha. It's about 90 miles southwest of Panama City, Florida, expected to skirt the Gulf Coast into Texas. Justice Department says it's investigating after New Jersey state officials said they had discovered about 6,600 non-citizens had been inadvertently registered to vote. This is ABC News. Lawmakers in the Massachusetts House will have until the end of the month to take up a bill that would address a primary care doctor shortage in the state. There's a war brewing along the southern U.S. border between the Department of Homeland Security and the Catholic Church.
In an attempt to extend the existing border wall, the Trump administration plans to use eminent domain to seize about 14 acres around Mount Cristo Rey, a religious site that draws about 40,000 pilgrims a year.
My team and I are looking at every way possible to stop it.
El Paso Congresswoman Veronica Escobar has filed legislation to stop the seizure of the property.
That doesn't mean that we don't believe there should be border security.
DHS says it has no plans to restrict access to Mount Cristo Rey from the U.S. side of the border. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Federal judges approved a $1.5 billion copyright settlement in which Anthropic will pay thousands of authors about $3,000 per book after using pirated copies of their works to train its AI chatbot Claude. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
At 7:02, it is 85 degrees downtown at the Arch. St. Louis County wants back in the race for big youth soccer tournaments. County Executive Sam Page is proposing a $6.8 million expenditure to expand the Creve Coeur Park soccer complex from 13 turf fields to 16, plus a new press box, something a rival city already has.
Kansas City got ahead of us in the past few years by having better facilities. This is an opportunity for us to catch up.
Page says Kansas City's press box gives it an edge in landing bigger tournaments, ones that bring teams from as many as 29 states into St. Louis County hotels and restaurants. Local farmer Andrew Welly of Teese Farm and Market in Maryland Heights tells KMOX there are ways to get around buying produce and fruit that comes from another country by locally.
Anything that grows and would eventually touch the ground for harvest, say cantaloupes, watermelons, strawberries, they need to be really washed well to make sure that you don't have the problems.
Since lettuce doesn't grow well in our climate, try making a salad with Swiss chard, which is similar to spinach, or with kale. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin cut off Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in a tense Senate hearing today. Hegseth was listing what he calls the Pentagon's new priorities: the Golden Dome missile defense system, munitions deals, shipbuilding, and hypersonic weapons, and was building toward a jab at his predecessor, Lloyd Austin, when Durbin stepped in.
There are things. I don't know what Lloyd Austin did for 4 years. I really don't.
Well, sure
the amount of neglect, the amount of stale thinking
now.
and bureaucracy,
proceed if I might,
was staggering when we took over. So one big beautiful bill gave us a chance to get caught back up.
Let me interrupt your speech for a minute, Mr. Secretary. It's my turn to ask questions.
Hegseth was testifying as Republicans push a $95 billion budget package to fund the war. A problematic downtown hotel is closing its doors after the Attorney General opened an investigation into the deplorable conditions at the boarding house. Is it still being looked into?
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says it is, and she is expecting them to submit a plan to fix the building's issues in a matter of days.
Get rid of the bed bugs, the drug dealers, the mold, the water leakage, or a plan to relocate the people.
However, she says as of Monday, they have not received that plan, saying if she doesn't in time, she will file a lawsuit. Hanaway adds they could take similar action against other problem properties in the city and are working with the police department to identify them. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis University says it's taking the next step in geospatial research.
With the Taylor Geospatial Institute spinning off into a separate nonprofit, SLU is launching a new geospatial center.
When people hear about geospatial, they tend to think about
a GPS or digital maps.
Dr. Gregory Triplett, Dean of SLU's School of Science and Engineering.
Geospatial science helps us understand where things happen, why they happen there, and how we can make better decisions.
The new Geospatial Center will be focused on multidisciplinary collaborative research that finds solutions to real-world challenges. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Forecast from Dave Murray for overnight tonight, partly cloudy, low 68 degrees. For Wednesday, sunshine, less humid, high 84. For Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low 64. And for Thursday, sunshine, high of 82. Right now it's 85 downtown at the Arch. Back to Matt Pauley. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are back at it as we roll on through a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. We only have about a half hour left in the show, and then we are going to get into our coverage of Cardinals baseball. It's game 2 of a 3-game series tonight. Cardinals and the Angels from Anaheim. Right now, we are efforting Dax McCarty. He is part of the team at Apple TV. He's going to be on the call as City SC. They are back at it coming up tomorrow. Kind of a weird schedule as they come out of the World Cup break. They played against Kansas City midweek last week, and now they've got another midweek game coming up tomorrow, and then they'll get back into a little bit of a more normal schedule. But they're playing a bunch of games in a short amount of time. Again, they are going to take on the LA Galaxy. 9:30 start tomorrow night. It's going to be on our sister station, Y98, so you'll be able to listen in right there. And then you'll be able to watch the game on Apple TV. Apple TV, of course, they've got coverage of every single MLS game. They do a fantastic job with that. And with that, we're very happy to be able to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line right now and welcome in from Apple TV, Dax McCarty. Follow him on social media on Twitter at Dax McCarty11. Dax, thanks so much for taking some time with us today. How are you?
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing all right. The win last week for City against Kansas City, they had the lead, they let it go, and then they're able to take advantage of a foul that was called after video review, and they get the penalty shot to go. What can that do for a team coming off a long break like it was for the World Cup to maybe propel them into some momentum and some success here in the second half of the season?
Yeah, just confidence. It's all about confidence with St. Louis City. I really like what Yohan Domé is building in St. Louis. And, the first half of the season, they played really pretty soccer. They played from the back. They played a possession-type style, and it was really effective in certain moments in different games. And I still think that the biggest issue for St. Louis City is just that out-and-out goal scorer, that striker who's just going to put away chance after chance for them. Sporting Kansas City is a team that's going through a big rebuild right now. And so, look, I think it was expected for St. Louis City to win that game at home against one of the worst teams in the league. But still, that gives you confidence when you can step on the field, you can score 3 goals, and you can get 3 points in front of your home fans after, whatever it was, a 6-week break. That's going to propel them in a really nice way for the second half of the season. They're 1 point out of a playoff spot, right? I mean, it's not as if it's this achievement or goal that's so far out of their sights. I mean, they are right in the thick of the playoff race, and I think if they make the right additions kind of towards the second half of the season, and I think Edu Leuven coming back is a huge boon and a huge boost for them. This is a team. If I'm looking at the Western Conference, I absolutely do not want to play against St. Louis City.
The report, and it just came out this morning, so I don't know how much you really know about at this point, but Carlo Holsa reportedly is being signed as a designated player. He is an attacker, comes over from the Turkish league, had 8 goals and 4 assists in 31 games last season in the Turkish league. Is that the profile of player that you're talking about, that may be the right addition, or is it something even more than that?
I think it depends. I mean, if he's a striker in the Turkish league, 8 goals in 30-odd games, it's okay. It doesn't really jump off the page as being extremely exciting. You said, did they pay what, $6-7 million for him?
$6 million. Yeah, that's the number that's being reported.
God, look? I always feel like it's unfair to judge a player before I've even seen him play, sure. And so. I've had a lot on my plate with World Cup coverage, and so I haven't seen that report, and I trust you, and I trust the reporting on it. Now, when they say it's an attacker, that leads me to believe that maybe he's flexible. He can play in a few different positions along the front line. I just, I look at St. Louis City, I look at their ownership group, and I look how committed they are, and I think to myself, man, if I see a striker like Hugo Kuipers from the Chicago Fire who's on the market, and if I see Robert Lewandowski come into Chicago, and the second I hear about Kuipers being available, I'm making a phone call. And then to find out you only have to pay $7.5 million to get one of the best goal scorers in Major League Soccer right now, a guy who is on fire in the first half of the season, a guy who has a tremendous work rate, a guy that's going to bang in goals, and a guy who is already familiar with the league. Well, then, I would have to say that Kuipers would have been a perfect fit in St. Louis. But again, I don't want to be unfair to the new player that they have brought in, and specifically with regard to the fact that I haven't seen him play. And so I don't know if he is the missing piece that they need, but certainly when you spend $6 million on a player and it's a designated player, they are going to be expected to come in and produce. And so I absolutely think there are positions along that front line that can be upgraded. And if he comes in and does a great job and kind of gives St. Louis City the boost that I think everyone is expecting, well then look, again, I double down on my statement that I do not want to see this St. Louis City team as we get into playoff time. I think they can be very, very dangerous.
When you talk about the team in the first half of the season playing some really good soccer at times, is it about the personnel that makes it more than at times, and that's just who they are, or is it something deeper than that?
No, I don't think it's anything deeper than that. I genuinely believe it is strictly about personnel. And so I have, I have a fond appreciation for what Yohan Domé is trying to build. I think that it is he's a Wilfred Nancy disciple, right? He wants to play on the front foot, high pressing, counter pressing, possession oriented, back to front type soccer. And I love that. I love that. I love watching St. Louis City play this year. But then when I watched them play at the beginning of the season, it left me wanting more. They got into great positions in almost every game they played in. They were relatively competitive in almost every game they played in. But for all the positive qualities that a guy like Simon Becher brings to the table, he let a lot of chances go begging. And St. Louis City as a whole was a little bit wasteful in front of the goal. And so that's why I go back to the goal scorer, to the striker. If you get a striker who is going to be able to consistently put goals in the back of the net, when you are creating a high volume of chances, I really believe that this St. Louis City team can make some noise in the second half of the season.
These games are coming fast and furious out of the World Cup break. 3 games in about a week and a half. How tough is it to have your fitness level where you want it to be when you go through a month plus of not playing a game?
Yeah, I think it's a blessing and a curse. I think it kind of depends. If you were in good form going into the World Cup break, it's unfortunate. You want to keep that. You want to ride that wave of momentum. You don't want it to stop. And then if you're a team that's kind of in bad form and you have some injuries, well, then the break comes at a great time. So I think for St. Louis City, it's just more time for Yohan Domé to continue to hammer home the principles of his playing style. And because I do believe that type of playing style is very complex, it's not an easy playing style to play, specifically with regard to the different movements in midfield with your wingbacks, with your, dual number 10s, if you will, that really, I think, fluid 3-4-3 formation. I mean, there is a lot of room for improvement. And I know Yohan Domé, he expects that team to continue to get better. So I think it came at a good time for St. Louis City. I don't think they were in bad form, but certainly in terms of getting some important players back healthy, I think the biggest, I don't even know if you want to call it, it's not a new signing, obviously, but I think one of the biggest boosts is if you can keep Edu Leuven on the field, healthy, 90 minutes with a clear conscience and a clear mind, specifically with just all the heartbreak that he has been through and that St. Louis City as a team went through for him in the first half of the season. I'm in awe of him as a player. I played central midfield, obviously, during my playing career, And he's the type of player that when I watch him play, he is a game changer in every sense of the word. I just think he is a phenomenal player. I think that if you want to have a team that dictates the rhythm and the tempo of the game, if you want to have a guy who's super comfortable in possession but who can also score goals and step up in big moments, I think getting Leuven back could potentially be one of the biggest boosts that any team gets in the season. And I know he played a little bit, obviously, in the first half of the season, but I just think that 6-week break will do wonders for his fitness level, and just getting him 90 minutes fit and keeping him on the field is going to be a huge, huge opportunity for St. Louis City to make a run.
It is City and LA Galaxy coming up tomorrow. You can catch all the action of every MLS game on Apple TV. No more double paywall like it's been in previous years. If you've got Apple TV, you're able to access the games. And I'll finish you with this. I have to think that everybody at Apple TV, everybody connected with MLS right now, really feels a lot of soccer momentum in this country coming off the World Cup.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think there's just such positive momentum going forward with how the World Cup went. Obviously, with the U.S. men's national team, the first 4 games they played, I mean, it was like must-see TV. They were excellent. And then, obviously, against Belgium, they fall a little bit flat. It's very frustrating the way that it ended for them. But if you just look at the TV numbers, look at the support that they got on the West Coast, in L.A., in San Francisco, in Seattle, it was phenomenal. And so I think that Major League Soccer is primed to kind of, I think, benefit from the buzz that the World Cup created. It was a fantastic tournament, record-setting tournament in every sense of the word. Attendance, TV viewership, all of it was just spectacular. I was blessed and honored to be able to cover it. And so I think that every fan should be extremely excited about MLS coming back and being able to put on a show for the second half of the season and kind of really build off that momentum that it built.
Dax McCarty is an analyst with Apple TV, the home of MLS Soccer. Dax, thank you so much for taking the time, and hopefully we can catch up with you again down the line.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Very good. That's Dax McCarty joining us here on the program. City SC in action tomorrow night when they match up against the LA Galaxy. 9:30 is the start time. You can also hear it on our sister station, Y98. We'll take a break. We've got more coming up in just a moment. We're back into Cardinal baseball. That's all we'll talk about between now and the end of the program, leading you into the Cardinals and the Angels tonight. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees, when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
If you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. he called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this late-night ad to make you more alert, which could help your driving. And science tells us that pulsing beats faster, stimulating audio like traveling sound, and voices on the higher,
so-called brighter end of the audio spectrum like this can encourage focus.
Also, a familiar tune can help, so...
Liberty, 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 liberty.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Only have about 15 minutes left in the program. We'll get out of here for Cardinals baseball a little bit early. Cardinals are in action tonight as they take on the Angels in Anaheim. Game 2 of a 3-game series. You'd really like to see them win this game tonight, possibly win tomorrow. Then at that point, you take a series from the Angels. You finish 500 on the road trip. For all the negative stuff that has happened here over the last couple of days, you lament the fact that maybe it's not a winning road trip in that scenario, but you appreciate the fact that they're able to finish 500. But for that to happen, they have to win 2 games in a row. They got to score some runs. They got to continue to do some things from a pitching standpoint, like what you saw yesterday from Kyle Leahy. Big night tonight for Matthew Liberatore, so a lot going on. What we like to do on these Tuesdays, we kind of intersperse different comments made by Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. We are lucky enough to get Ollie for a full 35 minutes during the Gas House Gang every single Tuesday. And he talks through a lot of different things. So let's talk about what just happened over the last 2 days. An absolutely terrible loss where you were up 7-0, and then a bunch of things happened where you just don't play well. There's mistakes in the field. There's mistakes on the bases. The approach at the plate seemed to change. Like, there was just a bunch of stuff that went poorly, and then you back that up with a game yesterday where your closer, who's been pretty good, especially in save situations, comes on, and he just didn't have it. Riley O'Brien simply did not have it yesterday. So that kind of presents two things. The mental place for this team, and then also, and this is somewhat connected, so I want to play both these things back to back, what losses like that do to a club. So let's start with the mental place. Has the team been impacted by what's happened here over the last day or so?
No, not even a little bit. Actually, it's probably in the best spot all year, if I'm being quite honest with you, from a morale, clubhouse, just attention to detail standpoint, which are the things that you kind of pay attention to. My question would be, what's the strength of schedule during that period you're talking about compared to the rest of the league?
I'd have to look at it. I don't know it off the top of my head. You've played some good clubs, but the ironies you've done, other than Milwaukee, you've actually done really well against good clubs.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The guys are actually doing a nice job, and you're going to have stretches that don't go your way. You're going to have stretches that do, and part of mental toughness is being able to actually get through those times. You talk about building character and building a culture that could withstand the ups and downs of a season. Well, you don't get to actually practice that until you go through it. So this is part of the gig, man.
So there he is talking about that. Leads right into this, because you can't practice trying to deal with the downs of a roller coaster season until you do have some of those downs. So do 2 losses like they've suffered over the last 2 days, do they beat down a club, and how do you make sure that they don't beat you down?
It can. If you have a mentally weak team, then it could definitely derail you. It can get people in a little bit of a sideways mood, and they come in kind of doubting themselves a little bit. But this group has done the complete opposite of that. And even that one in Arizona, more so than yesterday. Yesterday, man, that Riley's been good. That stinks for him because he'll wear that one. And, I mean, just his personality and the way he goes about it, where you have a 7-0 lead, and you want to be fresh going into this series, and you're unable to do that. And the guys took that one really well. Trust me, they were pissed. They're in the clubhouse, and they were mad about it. They were already talking about the ins and outs of some of the things they could have done different. So you speak into that briefly and make sure that they're in the right mindset to move on. But that's part of creating a mentally tough team. Like you sitting here, how many comeback wins have we had? How many walk-off wins have we had? Like, are we supposed to win those? No, there's plenty of those that we should have lost, but we still found a way to win. So there's going to be the other side of it where there's games you should win, and every team experiences it, where you're sitting in your office afterwards like, damn, we should have won that one. Of 162. Like, I'm not going to downplay it, but at the same time, like, you have to be emotionally disciplined if you're going to do this job, and if you're going to be a big league player, and that means not giving in to some of the outside noise of just 2 tough losses.
I do think it is important to separate the last 2 losses. Yesterday, they both stunk. Don't get me wrong. That you can make the argument they should have won both of them. Yesterday was a closer who didn't have it in the 9th inning, and you lost a game that was close going to the 9th. It was a 1-run game, whereas Sunday was you blowing a 7-run lead. That is very different. In his post game on Sunday, he specifically mentioned the group coming together after the game and how some things happened before the media even came in. So he spent a little bit more time talking about what the reaction from his club was after that Sunday loss.
What I loved about that one, I held off media coming into the clubhouse as quickly as they normally do, because there was pockets of guys already talking about certain plays and what they would have done different, and some of the sequencing from a pitching standpoint. So I kind of sat back and watched some of the conversations, and then I just spoke into the group really quickly as far as how we move from this point on. And unless you're in the clubhouse every day, it's really tough to put into words, but I love this group for that reason. Because yes, we'll be able to plow through some stuff that we probably shouldn't have this year, but what it's setting up for the following years, it's what's exciting. Because if they can take this mentality, take these 2 losses, that's bunch them into the entire season. But if you can take this and continue to build off of it from a culture standpoint, mental toughness standpoint, supporting each other standpoint, like I won't go into the individual stories of what we've been able to witness this year with that compared to previous years, but it's in a really good spot. So yeah, you lose 2, they're tough. Trust me. I'm as mad as anybody, because you want to win those and go down this stretch and have a really good one, but it's going to happen. And what you do emotionally and how you speak into the group and how you attack the very next day, whether it goes well or not, is extremely important.
Well, they have another day today to attack after 2 really tough losses. And it's just human to sit here and say, what could have been? Where would this team be at right now if they could have won each of those last 2 games? They would be solidly in that final playoff spot. And there's a lot of baseball left to be played. I keep saying it over and over. I do think they're going to continue to be in contention for a playoff spot. I can't make a prediction on if they're going to end up there or not, but they have to respond and they have to react. And the type of 48 hours they just had, that cannot repeat. If that repeats many times, well, then all of a sudden the narrative about this team, it becomes very different, and it becomes very different very quickly. We'll take one more break. We'll return. We'll preview a little bit more of what's going to be going on tonight between the Cardinals and the Angels. This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Steve All of the All Financial Group doesn't keep anything a secret. He knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. He'll develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824 for your personal portfolio x-ray. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, and whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every single day. This month only, get your air ducts cleaned starting at just $599 per unit. That's cleaner air, better efficiency, and a fresher home guaranteed. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the DGS special, ZeroResSTL.com.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Saving money on your next project now at Menards. Menards is the leading supplier of quality roof and floor trusses. Choose from our large selection of residential and post-frame trusses or design custom trusses specifically for your project. Get started on your building project today, in-store or on menards.com. Plus, view our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
In a county full of slick politicians, one man never got the memo. Jake Zimmerman. He may not be cool, but as county assessor, Zimmerman delivered. Here's Jake.
I stopped casinos taking money from our schools and cracked down on wealthy developers dodging taxes.
The St. Louis American called his office a model of respectful competence, and the Post-Dispatch just endorsed Zimmerman in his campaign for county executive for his pledge to take the drama out of county government. As county executive, he'll make life more affordable and stand up to MAGA's attacks on our rights.
I'm not flashy, but I get results, and I've got your back.
Then there's Brian Williams. Williams voted with MAGA Republicans to open the door to extreme abortion bans, and now MAGA is bankrolling Williams with $150,000 in donations. Brian Williams and MAGA can't be trusted. Jake Zimmerman is on our side. Paid for by Citizens for Jake Zimmerman. Jeannie Kirkton, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
All right, just another minute or so left here in this Gray Bar Sports Open Line, and then we got Cardinals Baseball, Cardinals Angels tonight. Matthew Liberatore on the mound, 5-6 ERA at 5. He's been better lately. In fact, Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol, talking on the Gas House Gang earlier today, said just that.
Yeah, we're seeing his usage is different. We're seeing him attack batters differently, getting back in accounts differently. So a lot of it has been that, and he's had more success because of it, less predictable, which has helped him quite a bit, which seems obvious, but you can fall into patterns and kind of get exposed that way. He's done a much better job of just using his mix appropriately in order to not fall into those things. And I've liked what we've seen as of late.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. I think that is a really big deal when it comes to usage and patterns and the way he has gone about things. It seemed we've seen Ivan Herrera catch him a little bit more, and since Herrera started catching him, it just seems like that part, the way he's been able to mix his pitches and the way he uses them has been that much better. I don't know how much that does impact things, but it feels like it's impacted things a bit. Herrera, by the way, is catching tonight. We've got the Cardinals and the Angels, and it's up next right here on your home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Time for the Ramsey Insurance Keys to the Game. Chris Ranji, KMOX Sports.